Namaskar.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another podcast of Silent Voice. This is Divya. Today we are continuing last week conversation on how does the child perceive parents. We have here my dear Guruji to answer all the questions. Guruji, last week we talked about how soul chooses parents and how the kids take their parents granted, and how we see them as easy targets for everything that they can't do. So, what do we have here for the next Conversation. So, let's talk about a step back about picking the soul, picking the parents. So when child gets trauma, and we pick parents as the targets because these parents are the root cause for our traumas, childhood traumas. So even if we know that, why the soul still picks the same parents? Does the
Why the
soul
soul? Can
picks
you
the same
repeat?
parents? Uh, the like the kids definitely have childhood traumas while growing up. So does the soul already know it will have traumas? So if so, why it still chooses the same parents?
Okay. He does not chooses the parent in that way. He chooses the purpose. And the parent comes as a choice, as the complement, as the purpose. Now, whether he chooses whether these parents are, aligned with my purpose or not, that's the only choice he makes. And parents have to live to the purpose of the child. That is very evident and that is very clear as far as the choices are concerned. Now, as we have covered the soul aspects and how the soul makes choices, one of the important point that we should, I feel, that discuss is the how child perceives the parent. Because from the soul's perspective, we have understood. Now, on a practical aspect, a child, as I told, the canal is very, very narrow in case of the humans. That is why the mother is needed to take care of the child for a long period of time. That means for at least 7 years till the child is independent. That is not so the case in other animals.
Mm.
They get independent very fast, and they learn things much faster than the child. The key thing is the entire brain's development happens step by step.
Mm.
So it is necessary for the caretaker or the parents to understand how child grasps the information.
Mm. Mm.
So as far as the brain is concerned, we have never focused on the development of the brain. And that is the reason why we have so many autistic child, we have so many special kids, we have these numbers are growing day by day. It's not reducing.
Right.
And we have not been able to find a proper solution to their challenges. However, there are systems available, but especially in India, even in abroad, we have really not worked as sophisticatedly as the Western countries, especially in the Europe and the America does. Our approach needs to really expand in the developing countries, the poor countries, where the conditions are poor, education is poor, the knowledge is poor. It is the responsibility of the experts to take care of them, but still
Mm.
very limited has been done. Even the mothers are not actually, mother father parents are not actually equipped to understand these challenges. They have to get their genes uh, tested, everything should be right, and then they should go for the pregnancy.
The tools.
Secondly, during the pregnancy the mother has to really focus on being very secure, very open to be a mother. The insecurity, the fear of losing the feminine self to become a mother impacts the child in a big way. So before the child understands how the child understands the parent is the one basic point that I would like to put across to you and the audience is he always looks upon the father and mother
Right.
for all his needs. So there are three things which happens. Either his needs are not met,
Mhm.
his identity is lost, or his social interactions are at stake because he doesn't know who he is. Then he cannot interact with the world and the society. So identity and need are the two basic things that is to be taken care of, and child cannot understand these points because his brain is very narrowly. It's very slowly developing, stage by stage up to 7 years, and we do not contribute enough. So
Mhm.
child is really always very confusing.
Yeah.
Parent, what is the key thing? They do not go on the what parent speaks.
Yeah.
Please understand. They will see only what parent does and how they do it, and they will replicate everything.
Yeah.
So, if you want to instruct the child, you need to imbibe those things within you before you really
Oh.
give them the sermons, do's and don'ts.
Is that even happening, Guruji? So
Pardon?
are the parents or anyone or that self-conscious about what they do, or they just say the
Very
words,
unconscious.
put their words on others like kids, and they're not looking into themselves.
I
It
give you a
literally.
very simple example. We tell the child not to tell lies. That's a value we imbibe. But on the call, when we are talking with the friends or anybody for a business purpose or whatever, we lie.
Yeah.
We say that I'm outside, I'm out of
Mhm.
station. Where you see the child is listening,
Right.
you are there. There is a conflict in his mind.
Conflict.
He
Yeah.
cannot understand. He cannot perceive what is exactly he has to do. Whether he has to follow. Now, if he speaks lies, and the parent has already spoken lies, some parents give the scolding,
Yeah.
some parents beat them,
Right.
put them into the fear.
Correct.
What is important? They find themselves in a condition that they are incapable of everything. They cannot change things. They, however, use the emotions very effectively to do that. But still, the impact remains in the child. And that 7 years, it takes a very long time for a child to overcome these challenges. Sometimes in their life, they don't overcome, they live with it. Sometimes they have managed to do that.
Why is it very hard in psychological perspective, Guruji? So will the
Pardon?
impression,
Pardon, I'm sorry,
why?
you're.
Sorry. Can you hear me clear?
Yeah, yeah, tell me.
So why the in psychological perspective, why these 7 years are very crucial for child development? Will the impressions of the images of the parents will be very strong and deep rooted into the brain, into the memory?
It is not about the memory and the deep rooting. Our brain's stages of development as the competency, we need to develop six competencies. One is visual competency, auditory competency, then the kinesthetic competence, tactile competency, the touch, and then
Uh,
you understand what it is. Then you have mobility competency. Then you have to develop a language competency. Then the third is the movement competency. Their mobility and movements are little different in that terms. So these are the competencies a child must develop, and his development is depends on the how brain develops at each stage. So normal parameters are there. Now this chart or this knowledge is not known to the most of the even psychologists, even the child, the people who are into the child development. So we can pinpointly, precisely focus on the development of the child, and then we know what input needs to be given. We should know how the child needs to be trained for the outcome. So we have never focused on the physical intelligence. So these are the challenges as far as the parents are concerned. And the biggest challenge is that child cannot perceive his objective for, where we have to look everything from the child's perspective. His objective is to explore things
Yeah.
from five senses, even a small toy, even anything hazardous, dangerous, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It is a natural instinct of the child that has to be respected. Now, for example, a child has a very im- uh, you know uh, intuitive knowledge.
Yeah.
But when his stomach is filled
Hmm.
and he actually stops feeding, and he just goes away from that breast, and he doesn't drink the unnecessary extra.
Extra. Yeah. Yeah.
But somehow the mother and the family has the fear that he is not adequately eating.
Mm.
He forces the child to eat. So he loses the intuition. The
Mm.
messages which has been sent from the gut to the brain that I'm satisfied, I'm full,
Oh.
is disturbed. So
Oh.
he don't know how much to eat, what to eat, when to eat. And so whatever imposed beliefs that are being given to him, he has to imbibe. And that cost him a lot, because the food habits is something which takes very, very hard efforts on the part to make a change. If you ask anybody for that fact, that what dish you like the most, you will definitely remember some dish of your childhood and how the mother used to make it.
Mm. Yeah. The
Actually,
smell. The smell,
actually,
the taste. Yeah.
actually, that memory
Uh,
is getting triggered.
oh. So
You're
what
trying to
happened?
satisfy those memories.
Oh God. It's just a memory, not what we actually like. Isn't that interesting? And like if you ask me about, like, I'll think about the smell, the taste, the environment, the people we eat things with, that things will trigger, and we try to replicate the same now, and we never get satisfied. Never get that thing again. Oh wow.
The
So
child's freedom, the movement the child is doing is based on his visual competency. If if he doesn't have that visual competency, he will not feel confident to move.
mm,
Feeling also, he needs to feel secure.
correct.
He needs to feel comfortable. So that is what is something that actually child gets lot of confused, and there is a lot of conflict that we imbibe right from the childhood, and he doesn't know anything about it. And the worst part, Divya, is that the 53% of the child are physically abused. Girls are sexually abused at below 7 years.
Oh.
That impacts their life. They feel so helpless. they feel so powerless
Right. I
in
mean,
dealing with the situation.
they can't even. Why can't they share with parents? Is it how we grew up in the
We
society?
have never created, that is what I say, the secure environment is never created between the parents and the child. The third aspect is the, I know hundreds of cases, I'm telling you hundreds of cases, where the child have raised the concerns and mother have asked them to bury it.
Yeah, because of society, how people might look down at them.
Whatever the positive intention of the mother is. And that time what child feels
Helpless.
about the mother, that is he is
Helpless.
not available when I want it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that impacts how the child will deal with the world, because he feels that the God is not available to me when I want it.
Yeah.
So, if you see all the negative acts of disturbing the humanity, the war, the fight, the killing, the psychological torture, the rapes, the abuse, whatever it is. The other day, I was listening to one of the leaders' speech on the Sera. He was saying that he was giving some figures of some states. That the
Mhm.
figures are rising from 4,000 to 7,000. It has gone to. So my thinking is that it is nothing. The law cannot help it on this. Psychologically, we have to deal with these people. We have to identify these challenges with the people, and we have to help them to correct these challenges.
Question, Guruji. Question. So when the child gets abused, so like, what are the repercussions? Will child keeps the things inside, or he wanna inflict the pain on others as well?
Pardon? I'm sorry, there is noise here which I cannot.
Okay,
Can you
sorry.
be little louder?
Yeah. So when child gets abused, right? Like when like he or she was a kid. So what's going to be the next steps of the child? Will the child takes it to, he want to bring the pain to others, or will he, I mean, suppresses so deep so that
No,
he will
that
come.
see what when the child goes through the trauma of abuse. Abuses are of different kinds. We consider abuse as only one kind. No, it's a verbal abuse, it's a physical abuse, it's a psychological abuse, it is an emotional abuse. When we emotionally try to manipulate, it is also an abuse. Okay. In many cases, the mothers are emotionally so dependent on the child. The father is so emotionally dependent on child, and they consider child as somebody who are their companions,
Like
and the
parental
child has to
issues.
take the responsibility of the conflicts between the mother and the father, which
Oh,
they find it very difficult to deal with. A child is
so they
given
don't
that
have a
role.
childhood. They don't have a childhood at all.
So what happens exactly is the from the child's perspective. He is grown much faster than his age. Now that becomes a very challenge for him. When to deal, he becomes a caretaker of everybody
Hmm.
in the life. If you see these kind of people who are unnecessarily taking care of the others, it's not required. But that's a psychological condition they are in. And the what verbal abuses we do, then we comes to physical abuse, beating the child. I will surprise you. Do you know how the two most uh, challenging habits which are formed, like drinking alcohol and smoking? What is the core reason for the psychological reason for these things? Have you anybody get an idea of what it is?
We thought it's just an addiction. People just. go to the.
Pardon? How do we get into addiction?
No idea. We like how I see my friends. People say, "Okay, somebody made me start it." Like the discussion ends there. Okay, somebody made me start it. I continued it. That's the only discussion. Like so far, I thought that is the only thing. So I never probe into the root causes for that. Just
Okay.
enlighten me, Guruji.
See, the core reason for the alcohol abuse, alcohol addiction, where really the person is unable to withdraw, that comes after, he's chemically, everything changes in his body. You keep on drinking alcohol to that level, your blood is completely into, the receptors, neuropeptides, receptors, they only need alcohol. So to get into that condition, or alcohol, the more usage of alcohol is purely and purely due to the memories of a child who is physically beaten by the father.
Oh God.
I'm
God.
specific. It's
Father.
that memory. It's that memory. If we can erase from the person, there is all likelihood, 100%, he will leave the alcohol.
Oh wow. How the physical abuse of a father.
So it's the pain that psychological pain that he feels, the memory that he wants to numb that memory.
Oh, he still feels it, but he don't know it. Like it's
Don't
not
know.
like he's thinking.
Yeah.
It happens in
It's
subconscious.
buried inside.
It's buried inside. He can never feel it, but the body keeps the score, and body knows it.
Exactly.
Oh.
So if the child is beaten, the child is beaten at one point. Suppose he's beaten here. This muscles carries the memory. You have to erase the memory from here and from here.
Oh my.
It
So
is so intricate and it is so intense.
yeah, Guruji. I mean, while
And now
growing
the second habit, which is of smoking.
up, yeah.
What is the significance of smoking is,
No.
so take a cigarette, put it in the mouth, and just puff it, and then what you feel is the warmth.
Mm-hmm.
This represents the feeling of security with the mother's feeding. They have lost that security and they want to regain their connection with the mother, and their nutrition and their nurturing is 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 disassociated in the mind, and that is why the people are induced into smoking. They
Oh,
want to repeat those experiences in their memories.
my God, that's shocking. I mean, I never thought it's connected to the mother and the like people looking for the warmth.
I have done my course in addictology, so I know it very well. I'm not talking out of something, but and I have helped many people to get away with these two things.
Guruji, I know you're master of everything.
No,
So,
it's not that I'm master of everything. It's just I had an opportunity to learn. I learned it, and then these are the things I found. And there are a lot of experiences through which I have gone through in my life, but taught me these things. Actual personal experiences. I have done the podcast with Rishikesh.
mhm.
On that, I have explained the psychological, challenges the person goes through. I will share the link in the description below.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges. I think we should be working towards the mental health issue,
Right.
and we have to be trained in parenting. There
Exactly.
is no parenting is the most crucial thing, and we are not trained. Whatever the training available is without understanding how the child is actually. Sometimes I find that the some uneducated, some village going ladies, and some people who are, we cannot expect them to be better than us. They are better parents than us.
Because they follow intuition.
They follow one thing. What you need to do with the child is to just give them the love, nothing else but the love, except the way they are. Help them to, explore things in a conducive environment. Secondly, they have come here to explore things. They have come here to experience things. We have to give them the safe situation where they can do it. And with you have to treat them with love and respect. We always treat them with the authority. Yeah, we know everything you don't know.
Yeah, respect is a new word, Guruji. Like, I don't know, like, does parents give respect to the kids?
Never.
And no way. I never saw my friends. I didn't see my family as well.
Respect is the first thing that we should give. Then what we are going to get is only respect. And he is going to treat everybody with the respect. So if you go into the life of the great leaders and the great people, you will see their parenting have contributed the major role in making them better person. And if you go and dig into the life of criminals and the people who created, the psychologically disturbed, their parenting is a challenge.
Exactly. They must be abused for sure.
Pardon?
They must be abused, like emotionally, physically.
Lot of things that goes into their life. I've psychologically explained around 10 to 12 conditions. And that is how we contaminate our souls. We contaminate our personalities. So it is so sad when I see, and I don't know what fancy we have got. I don't know what exactly we are doing with our kids. We are spoiling them to the last, because it is my kid, and I feel it is my property, and I can deal with my property the way I feel right. We feel the child as our extension, and child feels really burdened with all these things. I give you an example. One of my very good friend, he did I'm not blaming their parents at all. They have really taken care of him a lot, in the sense you cannot imagine. A only child of a very good family, very educated one. Whatever they knew, they did the best. But he's changed his course of life after he completed the commerce graduate, and he went and became a successful architect. So that the parent gave him that choice, that freedom, because we have been controlled and the way we have been treated. Either we don't want to treat our child with the same thing. Whatever we are deprived, we want to give it. So when you keep on giving the child whatever he wants and he learns that aspect, he says, I can manipulate anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And there, where when he goes to the world, he cannot do it. And all the wrongdoings that you see in the financial areas, in his people's failure are directly related to their parenting. People's success are directly related to their parenting.
So, I mean, it's very like astonishing to know whatever we success on, whatever we failed on directly relating to parents, and we don't know it. Consciously, we don't think those memories all the time. So it happens in the background and it reflects on the things that we do every day without we knowing it. So how one can break these, like when the child becomes adult, he already been broken into different parts. So
So
how?
I'm going to again do the something, something the I'll give you a few things, how the child when he grows and how he can deal with this situation. That is an answer we have to find. So child is no more. 7 years after that, the next 7 years, that is up to 14th, he moves out of the orbit of the mother and he starts exploring the world. Now, at that time, between the 7 to 14, his beliefs start shattering.
Yeah.
It is no longer whatever the parents have said and what the world shows them or what he sees in the world. There is a complete disparity in it. He cannot adjust and he cannot imbibe what has been going on around him in the environment. He just spends time in adjusting and understanding and being in the conflict. So after 14, his puberty to 21, it's a different story.
Teenage.
The story between the puberty and 21 is so interesting. That child sees the world. I don't want to live in this world.
Yeah.
So bloody insecure. I cannot face the world. I don't want to face the world. That is the inner dialogue with the child.
Rebellious.
No, the rebel is something different. Now I'm coming to the point. Then psychologically, what happens is, what was the most secure state in the child's life?
Secure state. Being with the mother
Being in the womb.
in the womb. Yeah.
Now, here is the surprise to all of us. His attempt. Now, there are two aspects. Okay, there are twofold aspects. One is his attempt to get back to the womb is an attempt of rising of sexuality. And he is being sexually active. So he tries to go back. What is his psychological need? He is actually trying to go back to the womb and he cannot.
Mm, mm, mm. When we think about it, everything is intertwined. Everything has a story. So we think it's coming out of the blue, but no,
So
no.
this leads to the, if I leave this question unattended, the people will make the comment. So I'm giving it from the mother's side. What is the difference between the mother and the father is that the mother feels complete when she gives the birth to the child. So the insecurity is equal in the feminine case also. The feminine also wants to go back to the mother's womb. But here is the psychologically he is a recipient. He absorbs things like the earth is a feminine energy and the nature is the Purush and Prakriti that we call. So the thunder, the rain, and the wind is all that the earth absorbs. Similarly, it is ready to accept something from outside. And the new life begins after 21. In an attempt, what does that his feelings, his aspirations, his inspirations, his emotions, his incompletion, all that he has got is poured through the DNA into the mother. and their both parents unite, zygote, that the two cells meet, and the life cycle moves on.
Mm.
So the story is that he cannot go directly, so he sends his cell inside to create something better, something new. And then he has to connect to his navel, to the world, to the consciousness. So the consciousness is the garb entirely, that the womb is.
Mm.
And then he feels connected with the womb, and that is the security a spiritual master feels. Because he feels that the world is the womb, the universe is the womb, and not the mother's womb is a representation of the universe.
We need to expand our.
Yeah. So how your question still remains, that how is that in the daily life we face the situations. Every situation that we face in our daily life throws some challenge to us, and those challenge reminds of our challenges of the childhood, and those are the opportunities for us to overcome
Mm.
those inner challenges. But we, instead of dealing with them, we run away, we find excuses, we stay in the pain, and we are not ready to make changes, because that also gives us some sense of security, of non-movement.
It's familiar
We,
to us.
but here is an opportunity. Daily life throws us an opportunity to rewire ourselves, and most of the time people do it. Some of the key things that we are unable and fail to do it.
People don't have necessary tools how to overcome it, or
So, absolutely. The only thing is that we have to. I was talking to my one of my friend, and as I mentor her on various things. So today, when I said be what you are, something I said, and she said that you're telling me to be. I said, to be means what? Do you have any idea of when the people says you just be? So to be means you are not approaching anything. You're not making any attempt to get anything, nor you are running away from anything. You are still, stand still, completely. Let things happen, whatever it happens. And that's a mode of surrender to the soul. So when you do this surrendering and just observe the things which are happening through you, then this universe will unfold everything, and all your pains and sufferings will go. Because actually, there is no pain, there is no suffering. It is all our illusion. And pain, as I say, is something that we are not paying attention immediately now. Pain, the full abbreviation stands for the paying attention immediately now. It can be psychological pain, which is coming from your memory. It can be physical pain, which is coming from your disease. It can be an emotional pain, which is coming from the personality, the hurt, the wounded self that you are carrying. And you need to expand your limitations, the body limitations, the thought limitations, the emotional limitations. And that is the only way you can expand yourself. If you accept body as a limitation, it will become a limitation. The system has created such a powerful mechanism Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you believe, whatever that you think becomes the truth.
Mhm.
System doesn't want you to fail. System wants you to be successful in everything that you think, believe, do, or act. Yes.
Um, it's like lots of thoughts coming in.
Please ask.
So so some like uh, some of the like women get like let's say uh, get pregnant, even with like accidental pregnancy happens, they're not fully uh, I mean, how do I put it, they're not ready for to have a kid. So what happens to that kid's life, like how the mother always treats the kid as an unwanted child. So uh, like it will,
That's a story of the child rather than of the mother.
right, like what the kid.
Everything is a story, and the mother and the father has to be a counterpart to that story. They are the flip side of that story. But the originally story is, and the child comes to the mother to actually, now look at the other way around. The mother or the father has to overcome their challenges looking at the child, but they don't do that. Child has been a reflection of who you are. Whatever you want your child to do, think, feel, act, you have to become that. Have you heard the story of the monkey and the cap seller?
What's
It's a
that?
famous story.
Is that
But the monkey actually, the cape seller was moving from the one area. So his mother used to tell him that if you have the caps and you are going from this area, please see that you don't sleep there. And even if you sleep there, at least have one cap with you wearing it. So what happens is the mother actually that the person, we are used to not accepting the advice from the mother. And he slept in that jungle. And all the stock he had of the caps was taken by the monkeys. But he had fortunately one cap. So he just played with those cap, and the monkeys also started playing. And then he threw the cap on the ground. The twist of the story came. He was expecting every monkeys to throw the cap, as the mother told him. And suddenly one small monkey came and lifted his cap and went away. He said, my mother told me that one day one person will come and throw the cap. Don't throw your cap. Go and pick up that cap. So we evolve at every stage. Even the animals evolve at certain stage. We have advices as others also has advices. And what we have to evolve from the child is that they are our direct reflections. My major development has come through my two kids. When I started learning, I learned that I have to change myself from within for them. And every day I use them as a reflection that what I need to change. If I don't like something, that okay, If I want them to learn few things, I have to change from within to teach them the values, teach them the decision making process, how to face the situation, how to think. We never teach our child how to think. We always impose our thinking on child. So thinking karna hai to you have to ask the elders.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
We can't think it. And then we see everything we expect contrary to what training we give as a child. And that is why every human is confused and in conflicts and living in anxiety
Yeah.
and with so many psychological challenges. Why cannot we deal at the very early age? Things are better if we allow the right, not the entire unconditional. If you see the cases happening on an everyday basis, hit and run case,
Mm.
because the thrill that the child wants to have,
What?
being on the edge, the thrill of speed, the thrill of being in the age, that has not been dealt with. And I don't think so any law can curtail these kind of actions. And in
Oh.
spite of all the laws, the lawbreakers or events keeps on occurring more and more, more and more, more and more, because we are in conflicts with ourselves. And the conflict starts from the childhood. Conflict starts from what has been taught and what has been practiced by our parents. What do they believe and what they want us to believe.
It's
So
impossible.
can we not really wake up and look every entire world from the child's perspective? Let them come here to love, share the love, understand the world, and give their best. Okay, let me give you an extreme example that what actually child, upbringing of the child. One of the parents, very educated, elite. I'm giving you a couple of examples to look at the other side of the picture. My journey of this started from where I will give you the insight into that. But before that, let me give you two examples. One, in the case the very elite parent, educated parents, they have decided to move into the jungles in the near Goa to upbring that child. The moment that she was pregnant, we we have such a huge challenge of C-sections.
Yeah.
We have forgotten to have a normal delivery. We are prepared that way psychologically, and trust me, that impacts the child.
Oh.
And as the child was born, she was a girl. She was not exposed to the urban life. She was not exposed to the education. She was not allowed to meet any other humans.
What?
And she stayed in the jungle
Mm-hmm.
for as long as 19, 20 years. The first interaction in the real life as the urban lives of the humans was astonishing for her. You know what ability she had that can surprise you?
Yeah.
So She knew everything about the plants, animals. The sensitivity was so high that when she intermingled with some of the people and they were moving around, she suddenly said that there was an animal, a leopard, passed this route exactly 1 hour 50 minutes before. And that was a sense of a perception that she had.
Mm.
Just by feeling that, okay, somebody has passed from here, she could tell this. The other parent, through whom I learned some of the very profound systems, with only one intention, that everybody in my family was from vernacular language. And there was a discussion going on to where do I put my child, in English medium or vernacular.
Mhm.
So to take that decision, I met a couple and I learned few things, that how you can teach a child to learn language and mathematics and do the physical intelligence, to develop physical intelligence. And then I imbibed into him. And I learned a lot about them through my second child. I have not left any aspect of learning their psychological, developmental, emotional, physical, and their entire system, the best of the best in the world. And me have gone through various traumatic experience in my childhood. So these experiences gives me the insight into what we are talking right now. In the previous episode also, in this episode, I'm not referring to anything. I'm just talking out of my insights, the experiences, and hands-on knowledge with every aspect. So the last point I was making is to give you these two examples and to talk about the, you know, that these parents from whom I learned few things, they have developed a learning system. They have developed a village. So they adopted few children and they have started teaching them
Mhm.
can learn properly.
Learn properly. Mm.
And today the trend in the worldwide is that there are elite people wants to raise children without sending them to school.
Wow.
So I feel that the child is the biggest asset that we have. And we really have to take care, at least in understanding what the child is and what he or she feels and how the child development takes place. If we can spread and expand this knowledge, this will do a great benefit to the world. Any further? I'm sorry I went so extempore
Yeah, Guruji, it's
without
very
asking any
interesting.
questions, without answering any questions.
Yeah, Guruji. I mean, how do we like with all these traumas, like everything related to like parenting, like kid is broken. How do we bring the awareness and necessary tools for the like the broken kid in the adult body? So how do we bring the awareness? How do we give people the necessary tools? So how can we help them to get out of their memories, the traumatized memories? So
So the mother has a tremendous instinct. And if the mother is allowed to use the instinct fully without the mother needs to be aware first, because they are very natural teachers. They take really good care of their child. I never feel that the mothers do not take care of their child. I feel they need to be more empowered.
Mm.
So the first thing starts from the mother, awareness to the mothers, and the young mothers are really, one section is really getting aware, and the other section is unaware. So in their life, they are living in the dark. They're unaware. They need to be aware about the consequences of what they do, because they are going to pay a very heavy price in the future. So does the society. We don't want to create wars. We don't want to create conflicts. If we don't want to create more rapes, if we want to have a healthy society, if we don't want the mental traumas, then the beginning is how do we shape our children. Shocking things like, every year, every month, rather every month, approximately 10,000 girls and the child are missing from one particular state. I'm not giving the figures of that. Why is this happening? Because we have not understood the kid as they are the messengers of the God. They are God in living. And it is our responsibility to take care of them in the best possible way. If we want to sustain the environment, if you want to create good leaders, if you want to create a successful society, if you want to create a healthy society, the beginning starts with the kids. If we work on them right now, we will be seeing the results after 20, 21 years. What we are seeing right now, that all that wrong we have done in the past.
That's amazing. I mean, how amazing the society will be like if, like,
Yes.
while growing up, the kid is respected and treated well, and the parents provided safe and secure environment. And how amazing the kid going to be, like how good he or she brings to the society, and how society flourishes. And yeah, it's
It
amazing.
starts with you and your kid.
Yeah, sure, Guruji. Yeah, and you're always there for me to guide.
Yes.
Yeah,
So every listener's kid, I'm not specifying to you, but yeah, you are at least lucky to have this conversation.
yeah.
So you are more aware. At least you will be focusing more. I know where parents are really taking good care of themselves and taking good care of their kids.
So
Anything else?
it's very good. I still wanna keep continuing
Ask a lot
this
of questions.
topic. I still want to talk about this because it's very so rooted into, like, whatever we do, it's very rooted to our childhood. So like we think we got past it because all the 20 plus years has gone. So we thought, okay, that's too long. We forgot about that, but we never forget. It's all.
And trust me, all that you need to invest is 7 years. Nothing more. Dedicated in that also. I'm saying invest only 3.5 years. You will see profound results. The first 3.5 years.
Can I tell you one thing, Guruji? So, like,
Yes.
I was doing your course, recoding. So, where it has different stages, right? So when I start doing that, I always stuck with the first part, first stage as a child. So whenever I want to finish the series, it has like 7 stages, I believe. So I never go to 7 stages. Like it's been like a year. Whenever I sit with the meditation, it's always with the first episode. I'll just go to the trance all the time. So next time I do that, I'll start with the first. I never like get past to the second. Is it because of I still need to work on the early stages and I haven't healed that properly?
No, it is because simple thing that even doing the first stage, you get stuck because you are still not believing and not ready that I don't want to move forward because it's much darker in the next step and much darker in the next. So
Oh,
that's probably the procrastination.
oh.
And this is not your case. It is the case of people who is not ready to face. So
Mm,
I have created a system where actually you have to pass through these phases of infancy,
mm.
toddler self, preschool, school age, adolescence, whatever the uh, whatever has been imbibed in you, you have to pluck it from the root and change it completely and experience who you are fully.
Okay, because I'm so scared what is coming next.
Oh, that's the procrastination. You don't want to face yourself.
I don't want to open it and feel the pain
Yes, you,
anymore.
you are afraid to open further.
Oh,
You feel insecure about opening the next door. And that's where you have to really come up and bring about a change within yourself. Just
mm,
enter into it, and you see it's an. And that is why I say I'm always available.
mm.
Anybody who's doing recode, I say I'm always available. Pick up the call and talk to me, but just move forward. Again, my request to you: you will be a different person once you finish this. Whatever you do, whatever you have done, whatever inner work that you have done, there are parameters. So you know exactly how much have you traveled, what milestones have you achieved, and what more need to be achieved.
It's amazing. It's awesome, Guruji. So yeah, oh God, we are like more than an hour here. So
Yes,
we continue our discussion next week with
sure.
the new topic, or we
More
can.
structured way. I'm open for that. If you want more structured information, that I will give you more structured information
Yeah, yeah,
on both these aspects.
yes,
As far as the 7 stages of development, and as far as the psychologically how the child feels and what is the stage of development on this child.
yeah.
So there can be 2 episodes on this subject.
Yeah, we can talk about recoding for the next coming episodes. It's very interesting topic and a lot of things you can unleash upon you. So, yeah, thank you so much, Guruji. Thanks for your time. I'm very grateful
Always,
to have a
always.
conversation with you. Yeah, thank you.